500. But they do want a lot of decimal places, so. Okay. And that is a sine curve that would approximate the weather in Los Angeles, right there.
Is the AP test true response?
No, it's multiple choice, mostly there's some true response.
Is the end of your test for this class?
The CCE.
The CCE, no, it's all multiple choice. It's like adventure.
During school?
Okay, by the way, note that the amplitude is 8, roughly. Isn't that roughly 8 right there?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Can somebody tell me the lowest number in this chart right here?
68.
68 is the lowest number in the chart.
They're having a side conversation.
I see, I noticed. The lowest number in the chart is 68. The highest number in the chart is 84. What's the difference between 68 and 84?
17.
7.9.
16.
That's what I said.
Yeah, 68 to 84 is
Half of
16.
that is an amplitude. Which
Half
is
of that is 8. Doesn't the amplitude cut it in half? Right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Top half, bottom half. So that makes sense logically, doesn't it? Okay. Now sometimes the sine regression is a little farther off and it's not that perfect. This is a nice example. That's not very much, by the way. An 8-degree difference between the middle to the top and the middle to the bottom is not a big difference in your temperature. Did you know that in Nashville, if you do a sinusoidal regression in Nashville,
For this year?
did you?
This week.
Yeah.
We're measuring wrist sizes.
I'm going to measure how much time it takes you to get to the office in a second. All right? And you can focus that in your quote book. Okay, anyway, did you know that in Nashville, the amplitude for our sine equation is 22? That's a big difference because we have really cold winters sometimes and really hot summers, so it's a huge difference, okay? LA is just right in the middle. Right, we're like this. Okay?
What about this year? What is it this year?
Well, yeah, it's pretty small this year actually, because it's been very nice. Okay? Well, so far. But the winter was like so mild, it's going to be a lot closer than usual. But usually the winter goes way down, the summer
It
goes
would be
way
totally
down.
thrown off now because it's going to like freezing at night.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's kind of weird recently. I don't know. Hey, it's not going to sine curve this year, probably like this. But anyway, I did find this one place. There's this one place I found in Norway. I did the whole sine regression for it last night. This one place in Norway has a 40 for the amplitude, which means the difference between the bottom and the top is actually what?
80.
80. That's a big change right there. Really cold winters, really hot summers, really strange places.
Not going there.
Okay, well, hold on. Okay, field trip. Good idea. Okay, so that's that. Now, let me give you some last thoughts. All right? Here are my closing thoughts. It's kind of like the Jerry Springer show, only not insane. Okay, let's do something like last thoughts or last ideas or something like that. Okay. Anyways, all right. So, it might behoove you to hit this on your calculator. Second, okay, and stat plot, or y equals take it, right? Stat plot. And you may want to turn this plot off. Now, you'll have to turn it back on for the homework, but here's the deal. If you don't turn the stat plot off, anytime you try to graph a curve, it won't graph it. It'll say error. So let's say you're on the final exam and you just did a regression and now you're trying to graph a W shape and you can't get it until you turn this thing on. So if you do it, what's that?
How come mine's always been on in this part?
Yeah, it should. Well, mine never works, ever. Every time mine's on, it goes error, and every time I turn it on, it says, ooh, look, there's a W shape. So just in case, though, 'cause some of these don't, it depends on what kind you have, that is.
What do you have?
T84 Plus. You have these
I've
silver
got
edition,
the
though.
silver.
I think the silver doesn't do it anymore, yeah.
I have the.
You get the 84 Plus, and yours doesn't do it? That does it every time. Anyway, it might behoove you to press enter and then off and turn that off.
So where do we write this?
Just out in space. In space. Okay? Anyway, so that might help you. Okay. And then the last thoughts, quadratic regression. We probably won't do one of these, but quadratic regression. Does anybody remember what kind of equation you would be working with if you were to do the quadratic formula?
X equals negative b plus 1 squared.
That would be essentially
That's right.
an ax squared plus bx plus c, right? Okay, that's quadratic. What is the graph?
A U.
What is the graph of ax squared plus bx plus c? It is definitely a parabola, so this is parabolic, isn't it? But it won't say parabolic regression, it'll say quadratic regression, but that's a parabola is what that is. Yeah, we won't do one, and I've never seen one on the final exam. There aren't a lot of real-life parabolic regressions in stats. Okay, not many things go up and back down again, but I can tell you this, because usually if they go up and down again, it's usually just a sine parabol. There are a couple of things that I found on the internet that would be nice quadratic regressions, actually. Should you pack plenty of time here. This is kind of interesting. How about number of households with VCRs?
I have
You
one.
have one. Okay, you're a rare person these days. Two. You're a very rare person.
I have three.
I used to have tons of them. Anyway,
I have three.
back when they were first invented, guess what? Nobody had one.
No way.
And then, of course, there was one point in in the 80s, I guess, when I was in elementary school, and everybody had a VCR, of course, because there were no DVD players back then. Okay, you couldn't pause live television, right? All those Facebook quoting stuff. Okay. Yeah, what about that?
Those are
Anyways.
enormous ones.
Oh, yeah, the big video discs, the records, yeah. So the VCRs, they came way up, and now, a lot of
They're way down.
VCRs are going way down. So that's a good real life.
They're gonna come back.
Okay? There are another couple of
Yes.
ones here.
They're gonna be Blu-ray.
Okay, here are a couple surprises for you. How about cable television? Surprisingly, because you can watch shows on the internet now, cable TV is actually decreasing. And actually really sharply declining right now, the number of people. You think everybody has cable? At one point, everybody did have cable pretty much, but now it's going down.
Oh,
I never had it.
Isn't that very strange, isn't it?
Everyone has cable.
You're one of those awkward people.
Very, very strange. So there are a couple of real life things for quadratic. Kind of interesting. Let's see, there was, oh yes, of course,
But then they're gonna make it really cheap and it'll come back.
possibly. How about the home phone?
We have one. We have two. We've always had one.
Starting to become a thing of the past, though.
Even non-smoking.
If you had told me, okay, yeah, that too. Yeah.
We have my name, but you can't.
If you had told me back when I was in high school that there would be a day where most people don't have a home phone anymore,
You'd laugh.
I'd say, you're crazy.
You just did it.
You don't even
Landlines
talk.
are the only ones.
If you had told me you're gonna have this little box that's like super thin, you can just walk around with no wires and talk on it. Okay, not even connected to the wall, I'm like,
Hope you
it's possible.
touch up to your face.
Okay, yeah, I will, yeah. All right, anyway, so of course, nobody had a home phone in 1900, nobody. And then all of a sudden, everybody had one, and now that's going back down again, everybody's just gonna cancel it, so. Kind of interesting, these trends over the years. I can actually show you sometime in class, maybe for cool stuff. I'll show you this, I have this whole chart on like everything you can imagine. Refrigerators, home phones, VCRs, cable TV, internet, everything. You can see all the, over time, all the rise and the fall of all these things. It's kind of interesting. So that's although suddenly that's kind of spiky.
Okay, I do.
It's a camel.
All right, so let me give you this stuff.